when I had an asthma attack. Adrien was in the center of the banquet hall, dancing intimately with his female secretary. Even as I was foaming at the mouth and falling unconscious, the man continued to hold his secretary, whispering intimately, laughing and talking. On the way home, I found a diamond ring in the glove compartment. Before I could speak, Adrien frowned and snatched it away, his voice cold. "It's not for you." I nodded, pointed to the bridal shop at the upcoming intersection, and said calmly, "Could you please pull over?" The custom wedding gown I had ordered, I now realized, needed to be cancelled. I had just stepped into the bridal shop when Adrien got out of the car and chased after me. He threw a woman's coat in my face. "Stella, you need to fix this habit of yours of leaving things everywhere." Adrien was a neat freak. He never allowed a single one of my belongings to be left in his car. I glanced at the coat on the floor and said flatly, "It's not mine." Hearing this, the man's expression softened. He picked up the coat without a hint of disgust and folded it neatly. I knew the coat belonged to Mia. Every time Mia, accidentally, left something behind, it would trigger a hysterical argument between Adrien and me. But this time, I had no complaints. I simply turned and gave the shop assistant my phone number. The assistant smiled brightly. "You two have come at the perfect time. Your custom gown and suit are both ready. You can try them on." Before I could refuse, the man who had just misplaced his anger on me had already walked into the fitting room with a cold expression. 10 minutes later, I stood before Adrien, wearing the wedding gown. He curled his lip at me, utterly tasteless. I didn't argue. Instead, I asked the assistant to take a photo for me. Hearing this, Adrien looked impatient and was about to put his arm around me for the picture. Just then, his phone rang. It was Mia's unique ringtone. The girl was crying to him, saying her favorite coat was missing. She sobbed that if some kind soul found it and returned it to her, she would devote her life to them, forever and ever. After hanging up, Adrien left in a hurry, without even changing out of his suit. As the sound of his car faded, I picked up a pair of scissors and, without hesitation, cut the wedding dress to shreds. At 1:30 in the morning, as I was packing my personal belongings, I received a message. It was from Adrien, drinking. In the 8 years we'd been together, it was a rare occasion for him to voluntarily check in. I glanced at the cleaning gloves on my hands and didn't reply. After taking out the trash, I took a hot shower, fell into bed, and went straight to sleep. When Adrien came home the next day, he happened to run into me as I was taking out the trash. He looked at me strangely. "Is your phone broken?" When I shook my head, his brow furrowed instinctively. I knew why he was asking. In the past, whenever he stayed out too late, I would relentlessly text and call him. But last night, his phone had been eerily silent. As I was about to step outside, Adrien asked again, "Stella, where's the photo of us that was on the wall?" I glanced down at the trash bag, about to tell him the truth, when his phone vibrated. He bumped past my shoulder, holding down the voice message button as he walked inside. "Don't worry, little one. I'll bring it over as soon as it's ready." Hearing the sound of water running in the bathroom, I continued downstairs to throw out the trash. On my way back up, my blood sugar dropped. I returned home, drenched in a cold sweat, and picked up the egg and toast on the table. I had just taken a bite when I heard Adrien's resentful voice. "Stella, have you been starved your whole life?" I watched as the man threw the toast I had bitten, along with the plate, into the trash can. My eyes were vacant as I asked him, "I've cooked for you for 8 years. When my blood sugar is low, don't I even deserve a single bite of the breakfast you made?" Adrien's gaze was hard. "You have no manners. To take without asking is to steal." He put on his suit jacket and slammed the door on his way out. Faced with this new round of the silent treatment from Adrien, I instinctively picked up my phone and opened his chat. I saw he had changed his background photo. It was a cute picture of Mia wearing cat ears. I gave it a like, then unpinned him from the top of my chat list. I worked until noon. I had an appointment with a real estate agent to see an apartment. As I stepped into the elevator, I ran into Adrien and Mia. Mia's hair was down, and Adrien was tying it into a ponytail for her. Seeing me, Mia immediately put her hands on her hips and pouted, complaining to me, "Stella, you're just in time. Look at Adrien. He's always pulling my hair, like a little boy who hasn't grown up. So annoying." Before I could speak, Adrien gently pinched Mia's nose, Flirting. Little one. If you tell lies, your nose will grow longer. After making Mia blush, the man finally deigned to look at me. Stella. Since we ran into each other, let's have lunch together. We had worked in the same building, for different companies, for 5 years. Adrien had never once asked me to have lunch with him during our break. But Mia posted on social media every day, showing off every lunch Adrien had with her. Remembering this, I smiled. You two go ahead. I have something to do. Not expecting my refusal, Adrien's face darkened. The next second, the elevator jolted to a halt, plunging us into darkness. I turned on my phone's flashlight and saw Adrien holding Mia, comforting her in a soft voice. Soon, the elevator started working again. When we reached the ground floor, Adrien offered to give me a ride. Before I could answer, Mia suddenly fainted. Seeing this, the man shoved past me without a second thought, picked me up, and rushed to the hospital. I quietly picked up my shattered phone, hailed a cab, and went to see the apartment. In the evening, Adrien personally delivered a dessert to my desk. Half an hour earlier, I had seen a new post from Mia. Loving someone is like raising a flower. Baby can't finish it all. There's just too much. The accompanying photo was a table full of French pastries. I thanked him but didn't open the dessert box. A look of confusion crossed Adrien's face. Stella, why are you being so polite to me? I didn't answer him directly, only saying, if there's nothing else, I need to go print some documents. By the time I returned with my printed resignation letter, Adrien was gone. He had left a sticky note. It asked me to go up to his office after I was done. I tore off the note and threw it away, along with the dessert. I walked into my boss's office and resigned. My boss tried to persuade me to stay for a long time, but seeing that my mind was made up, he finally accepted my resignation letter. According to procedure, I just had to finish out the week, and then I would be free to leave. That night at 10, Adrien called me while I was at a dinner party. A male colleague answered the phone by mistake. When I took the call, Adrien's tone was terrifyingly cold. Stella, where are you at this time of night? I replied, out. Send me your location. I'm coming to get you now. With that, he hung up. I sent the location and stayed until the restaurant closed. Adrien never came. I opened Mia's social media. Unsurprisingly, I saw a post about her being sick and on an 4 drip. I took a cab home alone, washed up, and went to sleep. At 3 in the morning, a travel worn Adrien roughly shook me awake. He said to me, his voice icy, Stella, I'm hungry. Make me a bowl of shepherd's purse wontons. He didn't like shepherd's purse, and he certainly didn't like wontons. I knew who wanted them. Mia. I tried to pull my hand away from his grip, but felt the scar on the back of his hand. Years ago, the school auditorium had caught fire. If it weren't for Adrien, I would likely be a corpse. A bowl of shepherd's purse wontons in exchange for saving my life. I was getting the better deal. Seeing me wordlessly change my clothes and prepare to leave, Adrien grabbed my arm, his voice uncharacteristically hesitant. Maybe we should wait until morning. Anyway, I cut him off, asking softly, besides the wontons, is there anything else she wants to eat? After a moment of silence, Adrien let go of my hand. No, he said. As dawn broke, the man stood at the door with a thermal food container and said to me, Stella, I have to go abroad next week. I'll make some time this Saturday to have dinner with your parents and discuss our wedding. Before he could finish, I cut him off. There's no need. Adrien was clearly stunned. What do you mean by that? I smiled and lied. They're traveling out of town. They're not back yet. The man stared at me, as if he had more to say. But fortunately, his phone rang. He eagerly closed the door. On Friday, my last day of work, as soon as I walked out of the company building, Adrien pulled me into his car without a word. Inside a high-end restaurant, Adrien cut my steak for me and asked, which wine would you like? I scrolled through my phone, bored, and said casually, you decide. My inattention made the man's handsome face darken. Who are you talking to? No one. Even with my answer, he still snatched my phone. After scrolling through it for a while, his expression was unreadable as he asked, when did you change your wallpaper? For all the years we'd been together, my wallpaper had always been a photo of us. Now, it was a picture of the puppy my parents owned. I couldn't be bothered to answer. I stood up to go to the restroom. When I returned, Adrien was gone. Suddenly, all the lights in the restaurant went out. A waiter slowly approached me, pushing a cart with flowers and a cake. Just as the cart stopped at the table next to mine, my phone lit up. It was a birthday message from my mobile carrier. Walking out of the restaurant, I heard a familiar, sweet female voice. Adrien. You're so strong. Can you push me higher? It was Mia on a swing outside the shop, screaming with excitement for Adrien to push her higher. The result of her greed was that she soon fell into his arms. They looked at each other, smiling, and held each other for a long time before they noticed me. A clear look of annoyance crossed Adrien's face. He looked at me, his expression blank. Stella, this swing is so much fun. You should come try. Halfway through her sentence, Mia's face turned red. She shyly let go of Adrien's shoulders. Stella, please don't get the wrong idea. Adrien was just trying to save me. Adrien lovingly ruffled Mia's hair, gazing at her deeply. Silly girl. What's there to explain? As long as you're not hurt. After comforting Mia, the man's gentle expression vanished. He looked at me indifferently. Are you done eating already? I ignored him and walked towards the Ferris wheel in the distance. I had heard that if you make a wish on a Ferris wheel on your birthday, it will definitely come true. Seeing my retreating back, a sneer flashed in Mia's eyes. She quickly pulled Adrien along. Wow, a Ferris wheel. Adrien, I want to ride it too. When the staff said there were only 2 seats left, Adrien, without a single glance at me, took Mia's hand and got on. 20 minutes later, when the man returned to the ground, he searched the entire mall but couldn't find me again. At 8 in the evening, I walked out of the bedroom with my luggage. I placed a note with the words "break up" written on it under the key. I left without looking back. At 11 at night, my phone rang. It was Adrien. I was in the living room chatting with my parents at the time and didn't see it. An hour later, he called again. I silenced the screen, turned off my phone, and went to sleep. I slept until noon the next day. When I turned my phone back on, I was surprised to see over a dozen missed calls. As if sensing something, I opened my messages. I saw that the usually aloof Adrien had, for the first time ever, sent several messages in a row. What's with the key and the note? Is it just because I forgot your birthday? Not answering your phone, not replying to messages. Is playing hard to get fun? Stella, I'm giving you 1 hour to get your ass back here. Otherwise, don't ever come back. Seeing the timestamp on the last message was from 3 hours ago, I let out a heartfelt sigh of relief, moved my fingers, and deleted Adrien's contact. There was a knock on my door. After I gave permission, my mother came in with a glass of milk. Stella, you have a weak stomach. Drink this while it's hot. I had come home suddenly with my luggage last night, but my parents hadn't asked a single question, only caring for me as they always did. I hugged my mother's arm, sniffled, and said, Mom, I found an apartment I like. It's small, but it's enough to shelter me from the storm. My mother smiled. Then buy it. How much are you short? Mom will help you out. Even though I smiled and shook my head, saying I had enough money, my mom still transferred me $20,000. She said a girl with a house and savings truly has confidence. So, I immediately made an appointment with the landlord to sign the contract the following Monday. That evening, my dad not only cooked a feast, but also bought a cream cake to celebrate my belated birthday. Facing the lit birthday candles, I clasped my hands and made a wish. I wished for my parents' health and for everything to go well. But not long after blowing out the candles, I received an unexpected message. To be precise, several messages from different people, all expressing the same thing. Oh my God. Stella, congrats on finally making it to the finish line. I'll definitely come back for the wedding and give you a huge red envelope. Stella, I sincerely wish you and Adrien 100 years of happiness and many children. Just as I was feeling bewildered by this shower of blessings, a notification popped up. Adrien had sent me a friend request. Stella, I've publicly announced our upcoming wedding. You've gotten what you wanted. You should be done with your tantrum now. Seeing the words, tantrum, I couldn't help but let out a sneer. At this point, who was the one throwing a tantrum? Speaking of which, my mom had once asked me to send her contact information to Adrien. He had always ignored it. Now, I was quite grateful for his carelessness. If this farce had reached my mom, it would have surely given her a headache for the whole night. After calming down, I first replied to my friends who had sent their congratulations, informing them that Adrien and I had broken up. Then, on my rarely used social media, I posted a new update, visible even to strangers. Don't believe or spread rumors. I am single, currently without a boyfriend. Not 2 minutes after I posted this, Adrien's call came through. I didn't answer, but the man was persistent. I simply blocked his number. After the world returned to silence, I lay down on the soft, comfortable bed, put on my headphones, and closed my eyes to listen to music. Monday arrived in a flash. After eating a loving brunch cooked by my mother, I walked with a light step to the housing transaction center. Just as the landlord and I were about to sign the contract, his phone rang unexpectedly. A few seconds into the call, he looked at me with surprise and hesitantly handed me his phone. "Miss, this is for you." I knew Adrien was well connected and capable, but I never would have thought that the usually rational, cold man would go to such lengths just to get me to answer his call. I found a quiet corner and said, exasperated, "Adrien, are you ever going to stop?" Not expecting my cold and impatient tone, the man was silent for a moment before asking in a deep voice, "Stella, why did you tell everyone you're single?" "Because it's the truth." Adrien sneered. "Leaving a key and a stupid note makes you single. Stella, I'm begging you. You're almost 30. Can you act like an adult? We're engaged and, as you wish, we'll be getting married and having children soon. With you acting like this, how are our classmates supposed to come to our wedding?" I pressed my forehead, resisting the urge to laugh. "There won't be a wedding." "What do you mean by that?" Adrien snorted. "Don't tell me you're really breaking up with me." I lowered my eyes and replied, firmly, "Yes, we're breaking up." The man said nothing more. Hearing the background noise from his phone, I knew he was at the airport, about to board a plane. I glanced at the landlord, who was worried about the sale falling through. I was about to hang up when Adrien softened his tone and spoke again. "Stella, I know you're angry because I forgot your birthday. I admit it was my fault. When I get back from treating Mia abroad, I'll definitely make it up to you." I listened to him calmly and said, indifferently, "You've misunderstood. I'm not angry, and I don't need any compensation. You just need to know that you and I have already broken up." With that, I hung up and returned the phone to the landlord. I also told him that if that number called again, he should just block it. After signing the purchase contract and completing the procedures, I soon had the red property deed in my hands. After taking a picture to commemorate the moment, I immediately left to meet a friend. I had a great time and got home around 10. I volunteered to take my dad's puppy for a walk. As I pushed open the glass door of the apartment building, a tall, familiar figure blocked my way. It was a travel-worn Adrien. "Stella." I tightened the leash, my face tense as I took a small step back. "Don't come any closer." Stung by the indifference on my face, Adrien frowned and approached. Ignoring my warning, he opened his mouth, about to say something, when my puppy went into attack mode, snarling and barking at him. But Adrien seemed oblivious, cornering me against the wall, his cold gaze fixed on me against the light. He said, "Let's talk. I don't want there to be any misunderstandings between us." I frowned. "There's nothing for us to talk about." The man pressed his fist against the wall, trapping me. "Stella, have you forgotten we're about to get married? You think you can just get rid of me with a casual break up? What do you take me for?" Faced with his gritted teeth interrogation, I was so speechless I couldn't be bothered to waste a single word on him. I tried to push him away twice, but found I couldn't move him. The puppy's frantic barking to protect me lit up several floors of the building. Seeing more and more neighbors gathering to watch, and not wanting to disturb my parents, I had to compromise. Half an hour later, in a 24-hour coffee shop, Adrien stood at the counter and ordered 2 Americanos, one with no sugar and extra ice. He placed in front of me. "Stella, you see, I do remember what you like." Hearing this, I couldn't help but blink. All my life, my parents and friends knew I hated bitter things. The only reason we had black coffee at home was because Adrien liked it, and the extra ice was because, for me, more ice meant a weaker, less bitter taste. He had become strangely talkative after just 2 days apart. Before I could respond, he continued, "About your birthday, I apologize. I was busy with work and got the date wrong. I thought it was next month, but I had already bought you a gift you'd like." As he spoke, he took a beautiful velvet box from his pocket. Seeing that I had no intention of opening it, he pressed his lips together, opened it himself, and displayed a pair of sparkling, expensive crystal earrings. 2 years ago, Adrien had casually promised to pick out a pair of crystal earrings for me for a formal banquet. Now, he had finally fulfilled his promise. Unfortunately, I no longer needed them. Stella, aren't you going to try them on? Facing Adrien's expectant gaze, I was silent for a few seconds before finally picking up the beautiful, but no longer needed, earrings. But I didn't put them on as he had hoped. Instead, I tossed them in my palm, then flipped my wrist and watched them fall and shatter. Shards of crystal bounced off his trousers. I then noticed that his calf was covered in bloody holes from the dog's bites. I pretended not to see and looked up calmly. The gift is ugly. I don't like it. Is there anything else? If not, I'm leaving. The untouched coffee cup was squeezed until it overflowed. The man, usually so obsessed with cleanliness, now paid no attention to the coffee stain on his cuff. He pressed his throbbing temples and asked with a half smile, Stella, how long are you going to keep up this act? Huh. You not only sent threatening messages to make Mia quit, but also deliberately started a fight with me right when she needed to go abroad for heart surgery. I can turn a blind eye to all this crap you've done for the sake of our past. I just want to know what you want now. To marry you right away. Fine. Let's go to the city hall right now. We'll get the license as soon as it opens. Adrien's handsome face was dark as he grabbed my arm, pulling me closer. Our eyes met. The man was stunned to see only cold indifference in my eyes. I shook off his hand with disgust, having no desire to explain or deny the ridiculous accusations Mia had thrown at me. I just said, word by word, my voice as calm as still water. Adrien, I will repeat this one last time. We have broken up. So please, rest assured, I will neither marry you nor do I have any of the so-called demands you imagine. If we happen to meet at a reunion in the future, just pretend you've never met me. No need for pleasantries. There were no hysterical accusations, no weak tears to annoy him. He watched as I stood up, walked to the counter, ordered 3 lattes with extra sugar, and took them to go. At that moment, an undeniable panic finally appeared in Adrien's eyes. He chased me out of the coffee shop, his lips pale as he said, Stella, I was your first love. I looked at him, amused. So, you were the one who confessed to me with a blushing face. You were the one who told me you had never liked someone so much. On graduation day, we promised to be together forever, no matter what. So, he started to stutter. So, you can't just break up with me because of a temporary emotional slump. It's not fair to me. I laughed. The sweet nothings we said in the heat of the moment. You didn't actually take them seriously, did you? The day after I accepted Adrien's proposal, I stood outside his office and heard him comforting a tearful Mia, who was pretending to congratulate him on his engagement. I could hardly say I love Stella. It's just that she's been clinging to me like a puppy for so long. I had to throw her a bone to stop her from crying all over the place. Adrien said he didn't love me. The funny thing was, hearing me personally renounce my past promise to him now. The man was so shocked he turned white as a sheet, frozen in place. I hailed a cab. Just as I opened the door, I heard Adrien's arrogant voice giving me an ultimatum. Stella, you know what kind of person I am. If you leave now, we're really over. Before he could finish, I had slammed the car door without a backward glance. A month passed in the blink of an eye. I was busy settling into my new home and looking for a new job. Fortune smiled on me, though there were twists and turns. I finally had the home of my dreams and a new, interesting job with a better salary. As for Adrien, occasionally a mutual friend would mention him, intentionally or not. They said he was getting busier, too busy to attend any social gatherings. So busy he had forgotten to delete the still pinned fake news on his social media. Adrien and Stella to be married soon. I had no reaction to this. My time and energy were limited and precious. I wouldn't waste them on people and things that were no longer part of my life. One Friday evening at the beginning of the month, I rushed through the evening rush hour and just made it to the 100-day celebration for a former university classmate's daughter. In the elegant, bright banquet hall, I presented a pure gold longevity lock to the beautiful baby girl in my friend's arms. I wished her a life of peace, joy, and smooth sailing. During the meal, a few friends I hadn't seen in a long time came over to toast and chat. The last person to come over was Nathan. He was a law student, 2 years my junior. We knew each other because I had been the president of the debate club in university, and he had been the vice president. When Nathan left, he gave me 2 pieces of candy to help with the alcohol. As I watched him return to his seat, my friend nudged me. Stella, to be honest, I didn't even think to invite Nathan. We're not that close. He found my contact information himself and asked me if you would be here. The party hadn't ended yet, but I said my goodbyes and left early. Coincidentally, Nathan was also leaving. In the elevator, the handsome, sober man spoke. Stella, let me take you home. I narrowed my eyes and looked at him suspiciously, being so attentive for no reason. It's been so many years since graduation. Don't tell me you're still plotting to stage a coup and become club president. Nathan coughed, trying to suppress a laugh. Just as he was about to respond to my joke, the elevator reached the basement level, and the doors opened. Standing outside was a man I was very surprised to see. Adrien, why are you? Before I could finish, the man, radiating palpable anger, strode into the elevator, grabbed my wrist, and yanked me out, ignoring my struggles. Adrien, his face tense, said through gritted teeth. Stella, I admit you've won. I'll agree to whatever you want, as long as you stop this Cold War and stop torturing me. Hearing the words, Cold War, I looked at Adrien, baffled. Adrien, do you not understand plain language? How many times do I have to repeat that we've broken up before you'll leave me alone? Even though I had made it crystal clear, Adrien seemed not to hear, staring at me for several seconds. Then, still holding my struggling right hand, he tried to drag me towards his silver car parked a few meters away. Seeing this, Nathan rushed forward, quickly grabbing my other arm and saying indifferently, Stella doesn't want to go with you. Sensing that I was pulling with all my might towards Nathan, Adrien's lips thinned into a knife's edge. He asked Nathan mockingly, You know that Stella and I are engaged, right? She has already accepted my proposal. In a few days, she will be my wife. What right does an outsider like you have to interfere in matters between me and my wife? Nathan's grip on my hand tightened. Before he could formulate a response, I, incensed by Adrien's shamelessness, laughed coldly and said, Nathan is my boyfriend. My business is his business. But you, a disgusting, clingy ex, what gives you the right to bark at my boyfriend like that? As soon as I finished, Mia, wearing a hospital gown, got out of Adrien's car. She leaned against him, looking pitiful, and said with a pointed tone, Stella, not only were you caught flirting with this man at the banquet just now, but now you're breaking Adrien's heart for him. Are you really so fickle that you'd hook up with another man in less than 2 months? Oh my God. How could you? Fickle and eager. I not only accepted Mia's sarcastic remarks, but also graciously said to Adrien, You see, Mia cares about you so much. To be honest, you two are a match made in heaven. I sincerely hope you find happiness and get married soon. Hearing my calm, emotionless blessing, Adrien's face visibly darkened. A flash of secret joy crossed Mia's eyes. She was about to add more fuel to the fire when Adrien, seeing me with Nathan, suddenly seemed to wake from a dream and shoved her away. Mia's knee scraped against the rough ground. She looked up in a daze as Adrien rushed towards me, explaining in an unprecedentedly urgent tone, Stella, it's not what you think between me and Mia. She was in my car because she fainted on the street near the company, so I had to take her to the hospital. I found it a little funny. Why are you telling me this? Seeing no sign of anger from me, Adrien was visibly relieved. Stella, I just want you to know that, from beginning to end, you're the only one in my heart. Realizing Adrien was reaching for my face, Nathan suddenly pulled me into his arms and said to Adrien coldly, Stella is my girlfriend now. Please have some self-respect. At his words, before I could even thank Nathan with my eyes for playing along, Adrien suddenly grabbed Nathan's collar, his face livid, and threw a punch. Nathan could have dodged it, but to protect me in his arms, he stood his ground and took the hit. A sharp cracking sound followed Adrien's angry swing, echoing through the empty parking garage. Letting go of Nathan, unclenching his fist, Adrien, whose head had been snapped to the side by my slap, stood motionless for a few seconds before finally turning to me. His eyes dazed. He asked me, "Stella, have you gone mad?" He didn't need to ask. Adrien had already decided in his heart that I must be mad. If I weren't mad, how could the quiet, obedient woman who had loved him for 8 years and always submitted to his will possibly raise a hand against him for some irrelevant stranger? It must be a dream. Just as Adrien was thinking this, he looked up and saw me holding Nathan's hand. Our fingers intertwined, asking him softly if he was hurt, if he needed to go to the hospital. Adrien was completely stunned. The man's eyes, gradually turning red, were filled with disbelief. Refusing to give up, Mia scrambled up from the ground, the jealousy and hatred in her eyes no longer hidden. She pointed at me and screamed, "You shameless bitch. Adrien was wholeheartedly planning to marry you, and you were cheating on him with this man all along." In the past, when Mia had twisted the truth in front of Adrien, I had always tolerated it for various reasons. But now, she was shamelessly slandering Nathan in front of me. I laughed softly, took off my right high heel, and strode towards her. In the blink of an eye, I did something that shocked everyone present. MMPH. As the dirty sole of my high heel slapped across her mouth, Mia's eyes widened. She instinctively tried to back away, but I had anticipated this and grabbed her hair, holding her in place. Her mouth was soon swollen and bleeding. The pain made her scream and cry hysterically. As I was teaching her a lesson, Mia looked at Adrien with tear-filled eyes, pleading for help. The funny thing was, Adrien just stood there, letting her cry and add to her own drama. And after I threw her to the ground like a piece of trash, he eagerly snatched the high heel from my hand and knelt down, trying to put it back on for me. "Stella, don't be angry. I know you're not the kind of woman Mia says you are. I finally see it now. The reason we've become like this is all because of her meddling. I promise you, I will never be soft-hearted with her again just because I pity her. I'll fire her when I get back. Okay, Stella. So, let's not break up. Okay, Stella. I really know I was wrong." I glanced at the miserable, ashen-faced Mia, then took off my other high heel and threw it in Adrien's face. "Even if you fire 100 MIAs, it won't change the fact that we've broken up." With that, I turned to leave. My dress caught. It was Adrien, his hand trembling as he held on to me. In all the years I had known him, I had never seen him so lost and helpless. "Don't go. Can you just tell me? Tell me what I did wrong that you have to be so cruel and break up with me. Are you really with this man? Stella, I don't believe you could be so cruel to me." My eyes were filled with contempt. "Let go." He stubbornly shook his head, his voice horribly hoarse. "Stella, look at me. Unless you look me in the eye and tell me you don't love me anymore, that you love Nathan, I will never believe you truly want to leave me." As Adrien wished, I finally turned and looked into his deep eyes, which had, at some point, turned crimson and were filled with a despair that was on the verge of tears. I said to him, word by word, "Adrien, I really don't love you anymore. No matter who I love in the future, it will never be you. Do you understand?" His knees buckled, and Adrien fell to the ground without any dignity. He forced his stiff lips into a smile that was uglier than crying. "It's okay, Stella. As long as I love you, you don't have to love me. As long as we don't break up, I'll do anything you want, even if it's killing someone." My voice was as calm as still water. "I have no need for your useless love. If you harass me again, I will call the police." Hearing this, Adrien blinked. The salty, bitter tears that had been welling up for so long finally gushed out. "Stella, don't do this to me. I know I shouldn't have trampled on your heart, ignored all the good you did for me. Why can't you give me one last chance to atone? I swear, I will let you see me change." I cut off the man's obsessive rambling and only said, "Adrien, it's all too late." Facing Adrien's empty, lifeless gaze, I got into Nathan's car and left. In the car, I apologized for using Nathan as a shield and for getting him hit. But Nathan just smiled, unconcerned. "If you ever need something like this again, be sure to call me first." After safely dropping me off at my building, Nathan said, "Stella, if Adrien harasses you again, you can call me, no matter what time it is." I nodded and smiled, agreeing to have dinner with him next weekend. One ordinary evening a month later, I received a call from an unfamiliar landline number. It was Adrien. He seemed sick, his voice weak, and he couldn't stop coughing. Stella, don't hang up. I just want to ask you one question. Did you ever love me? I didn't even look up. No. With that, I hung up, put down my phone, and continued watching a variety show on TV. It wasn't until 2 days later that I learned from a group chat that Adrien's company had been set on fire, and he was still in the hospital. His condition critical. Mia had set the fire. Furious about being fired, she had lost control, locked the company doors with her frail, sick body, and tried to take Adrien down with her. Seeing the police report, I belatedly realized that Adrien had called me on the brink of death. What bad luck. My muttered words in front of the movie theater caught Nathan's attention as he was buying tickets. Stella, what did you just say? I didn't hear you. Nothing. I closed the group chat, leaned over to look at his phone, and asked, did you get the tickets? What time is it? Got them. It starts in half an hour. Just enough time to get the milk tea you wanted. Nathan excitedly led me downstairs. On the way to get milk tea, he also bought me some snacks and toys. The bags in his hands made it look less like we were going to a movie and more like we had just finished our New Year's shopping. After the movie, in the parking garage, Nathan asked me to open the trunk to get something. I did as he asked and was not surprised to see the flowers and balloons he had prepared. The man was visibly nervous. Stella, will you be my girlfriend? Without a second thought, I smiled and took his hand. Of course. Life is long and winding. With every twist and turn, you'll always meet the next person meant for you.